Joined now by John Stoddard. He's the host of the podcast Top M&A Entrepreneurs. John, welcome back to the program.
Thanks, Don. Thanks for having me.
Well, we talked to you a couple of weeks ago, and you're very big on companies growing their revenues by mergers and acquisitions. Tell us about that again.
Yeah, the fastest way you can grow, I'm talking 5x, 10x, is growing through acquisitions. And I'm not just talking about buying another indirect or competitor. You can buy eyeballs, like traffic to your system, somebody maybe like a Facebook group or a LinkedIn group, something like that. And that'll increase your eyeballs to your product, to your site.
Now, you mentioned actually going after some of your competitors.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's the fastest way to grow is when you're in your own ecosystem, you can see who your direct, indirect competitors are. And you start having these conversations just saying, hey, would you like to sell? You can 2x your business in a very short period of time, just buying your competitor out.
Now, this is really simple when you think about it from a public company perspective, because they can use your stock as currency.
Yeah, I think it's just another chip that you can use, right? So maybe you have to do some cash, maybe you have to do some debt. But then you also you can bring something to the table like, hey, man, you're a private company. I'm a public company. I can give you some shares. And then you like those shares. We're increasing the valuation of the company. The stock price is going up. You can sell them at any time.
It helps the public company, too, because they can book the revenues that the acquisition is creating.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a great story, right? Because I used to do this with our buddy, Michael Brett, right? If a company has got $5 million in revenue, buys his direct competitor, now you got $10 million in revenue. Your bottom line's better. It's a great story to the street.
Now, you basically host a session where people can learn more about this. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, we have webinars all the time. I got one this week going on. You can log into the webinar. It's recorded, just teaching you how to grow through acquisition. And it's free. Yeah.
Well, what is a typical acquisition? How long does it take? I mean, what's the procedures for people who don't know?
Yeah. So the first thing is, you got to set your goals. Like, what are you looking for to grow your company? Where can you help? Like, your business is going to grow either through more customers coming in, doubling the size of your products, like the checkout, or getting more customers buying more frequently. So what if it's, say, I just need more customers at the top one, the first one? You could either do that buying your indirect competitors, direct competitors, or you can buy eyeballs. That's coming to your website. You got to find out who's available, who's interested, who's motivated to sell. And then you kind of go like, what's it going to be worth? Start having this conversation. This is not a quick process. It could take anywhere from a year to 3 years. But if you were to set some goals and say, hey, I want to exit my company at $50 million valuation and work backwards to what your EBITDA and net income does, then you could say, these are the acquisitions I need to make in the next 3 years.
Well, you're absolutely right, because on MoneyTV, we've been on TV now for 27 years. We've interviewed thousands of companies, and the CEOs that we talk to talk about growing organically and growing by acquisition. And the ones that grow the fastest are the ones growing by acquisition.
Yep. I agree with you. That's what we held to do. Yeah. So every week I'm having webinars. Go to dealflowsystem.net and join our webinar.
Can you tell us about a couple of success stories that you can share with us?
Yeah, I helped a cannabis company just about a year ago. We helped them acquire a $7 million business. Now, that was about a year and a half ago. Cannabis is kind of out of favor, so the stock went from $1 to $2 because you can't move the money around. But successful acquisition, they loved it.
Now, it doesn't always have to be a smaller company you're acquiring, right?
Yeah, it's a little bit different to acquiring a bigger company because you have to have some financing down. They're going to expect a higher valuation. You may have to bring in investors into the deal. But if you could create a creative package and say, what does the two companies look together like in a year? Can you get the bigger multiples together versus, separate? If you can get that arbitrage to a higher multiple, I mean, you're going to get a better deal.
John Stoddard, mergers and acquisition expert. Thanks so much for joining us.
Don, thank you so much. I appreciate it.